Hi, and welcome to this exciting webinar. I'm so glad that you can join us. I know a few of you are probably going to be joining us in a few minutes, but that's fine. You can catch up with us as we start. For those that do not know me, my name is Alote Omova, and I'm the founder of Super Working Mom. I work with moms in business and those that have a career who feel overwhelmed and are stressed or are trying to achieve balance in their lives. So I help them to find that balance through my programs, events, and retreats. Now, a little background on why we're doing this webinar. So it's on September 13, we're having the Super Working Mom Live for this year. We had one last year and it was fantastic. So this year's event is on September 13 in Stratford. And so this is part of a series that I've been doing where I bring each of the speakers who are going to be with us on the day and interview them just to get to know them better, for them to share some of their knowledge with us before the live event. And that way you get to know who's coming to talk to you on the day. So today we have Tokes Aroture, and she is a bit mom and she's a businesswoman. I'm going to give you a little background about her, even though she's going to tell us more about herself. So she's a wife, and she's a mom of 4 boys. She's the force behind Pumpkin Patch Interiors, and they provide high-end bespoke luxury furnitures. So basically, children's furniture, nursery furniture, and she loves to educate new and expecting moms on how to design their babies' nurseries. I find that really, inspiring. So I found out something about Tok's business. Apparently, in 2008, when the recession kicked in, she was forced to make some tough decisions about her business, and she's going to be sharing more about that at the live event. But today, she wants to share with us 3 crucial traits you need to have if you want to be successful in business. I mean, I'm sure we all want to succeed, whether we're in business or career. And even these traits can apply to you even if you have a career, I presume. But she's going to tell us more about that. She's also a writer. She writes for different blogs and magazines, so you can tell that she's quite multi-talented. So I would like to say welcome, Tokes, and thank you for taking time out.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So if you are here, once you log in, just say hello via the chat box so that I know you can see us. I can see a few people have joined. Welcome, and we'll just get right into it because I know our time is limited. And yeah, so let's just get on with the program. So, hi, Tokes. Could you please tell us a bit more about you and your family?
Well, how far back should I go? I've got like 3 generations worth of history to share. I'm just kidding. But my name's Tokes, and I'm married, and I've got 4, as Alot had said, I've got 4 very active sons. I can often be found sprinting far away from them as opposed to running towards them. I love them to bits. I work full-time on my business. Pumpkin Patch Interiors is my baby and children's interiors furnishings company, and I spend a lot of my time on Pumpkin Patch. When I'm not working on the business, I can be found writing. I love to write. I find that writing unburdens or distresses me, rather. I can also be found reading. I do enjoy reading a lot, particularly biographies. Sometimes you might catch me writing and reading simultaneously. I'm weird like that. That's me.
Interesting. So, how long have you been married for?
It's 18 years this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a very long time.
Fantastic. So, I know, from interacting with you and hearing a bit of your story, that you used to live in the United States. So, what made you move to the UK, and do you miss living in the States? And what do you miss about living in the States, if you do miss it?
Oh, well, we actually were originally living here in England, and then we moved to the United States some years back. I can't remember the number off the top of my head for some reason, but we moved. We fell in love with the US and decided to move there, and we moved there, and we in the process we also purchased the business that I have now, a baby and children's store. In doing that, the store was thriving, it was doing well, and then the recession hit in 2008, and along with some other external forces or factors, we decided, we literally had a perfect storm and decided that it made sense to weather the storm here in England, which is why we came here. And so we ended up back here and have rebuilt and restarted again, and it's been quite interesting. What do I miss about living in the US? A lot. Because we lived in the South, which is in the state of Georgia, the weather can only be compared to the tropics. You know, it's absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful all year round. The scenery is to die for, yeah, especially in autumn. I also miss the fact that compared to England, I think that the US is a bit more friendly towards entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Everyone pretty much has a business. They may have a main job, but they also will have a business on the side. So running a business is not an exception. It's pretty much the rule.
Right.
And there's everything to support you in doing that.
Interesting. Interesting. So I'm curious, before you started your business, what did you do for work? Or have you always been in business?
No, I haven't always been in business. I actually, before I started Pumpkin Patch, I had a very short stint as a residential interior designer here in England. That was quite short-lived. And then we moved and we purchased the business. But prior to that, I was a medical sales rep, so nothing related whatsoever. I've always been fascinated with the human body and its functions, and I studied pharmacology and went on to become a medical rep after uni, which was a very well-paying job. And I wouldn't call it a demanding job either. It was well paid, it was not too demanding, and it was rather flexible, but it just did not suit my personality. So I was there for a while, and then when I stopped to have my children, I gave up that aspect of my life.
Okay. So what made you decide to start a business, and Pumpkin Patch in particular?
Well, what happened was I left my job or took a break rather from my job as a medical sales rep. I took a break to start my family. And when we had our third and what we thought was our final son, I decided to go back, and there were politics with regards to my returning back and the hours that I was able to work and what have you. So that was a bit of an obstacle I encountered. And my husband was the one who even suggested to me and said, why don't you just do what you really love? And what I loved was interior design. Although I didn't know that it was a knack, I didn't actually equate a passion to being a knack or a gift or anything like that. I just enjoyed it, and I realized that, you know, amongst my friends, I was always the go-to person to have their homes done. And so I decided, and I did that, and I gave up my search or my plan to return back to work, and I launched my interior design business.
Interesting. So, the big question, how did you manage to run a business with your children, especially when they were younger? Did you have help? What did you do? How did you do it?
You know what? It's funny that it's only on hindsight now that I look and I realize that they were quite young when I was running the business, and but I think I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be tough to be a mom and have a business. And so, yeah, I just kind of
had so much fun then.
Well, I don't know if it's fun. I think it's a bit like putting on weight, isn't it? You put on weight gradually, and you don't realize that you've put on weight until one day you do step on those scales, and then you see that you have actually gotten a bit heavier. So in some ways, I just sort of kind of went with the flow really of having children and running a business. It was tough. I mean, I think that the hardest part of being a mom is not physical, it's mental. I remember years ago when my boys were quite young, they were ages 2 and 3, because I have them, they're all quite close in age. I read this book called Toddler Taming by Dr. Christopher Green, I think his name is, and the book literally set me free. And the reason it did that was because I found out that every other mom shares the same challenge and shares the same worries of insecurities and uncertainty. Am I doing right as a mother? And I think with that, I knew that all of the emotions that I was feeling was very normal. And so even when I started running my business, I equated it to simply being a mom. It's just what happens, you're a mom and you run a business. But I did have support. I have a really good network of friends, and had a number of friends living close to me at the time who were quite helpful, especially in the early days of my interior design business. The other thing as well that I want to say about that is, although it is tough to run a business with children, and especially young children, I think that especially when you're starting out, or even if you have already started out, it makes sense to build a business around your family. So it makes sense to build a business around what suits you. And I have a really good friend who she works as a radio DJ, so she's quite well known. But every single event, even public events she attends, she's always with her 2 daughters. And there was one time she had an event where a member of the royal family was a guest of honor, and there were her daughters, and they were taking pictures, and she's just always built them in. And so what I learned from her is, you don't go with the status quo, you kind of let the status quo fit into you and not the other way around.
Yes.
So it's about recognizing, yes, it is challenging, but it's not abnormal for it to be challenging. It's what being a mom is about.
Yeah, it's part of life, part of being a mom.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so do you think any mom or woman can start a business? And I guess this is us now talking about the 3 traits that every mom needs to be successful. So let's start with, do you think any mom can start a business, or what does it take to start a business?
I think that any mom can indeed start a business. I don't think that it's only for certain people. I think about the age of industrialization, and prior to that, women did have to run their businesses. So yes, any mom can start a business. But again, it goes back to what I said previously. Where possible is to make the business fit around your role as a mom, and however many other hats that we wear as mothers. With regards to traits, there are quite a number of traits that can be cultivated, or that need to be cultivated. But because we all have different strengths and different weaknesses, I would say that the traits differ for each person. So, for example, where somebody has a challenge with regards to, I don't know, they're not very assertive and they get walked over quite often, they need to grow, trying to think of a nice, decent word, they need to become a bit tougher and a bit more assertive, whereas someone who's already assertive may not need that aspect. Yeah. So following that, I would say possibly the number 1 trait you should have as a mom, running a business or going into business, or wanting, or even in your career, is to have the ability to be introspective.
To be what?
To be introspective.
Oh, yeah.
So you're able to look into yourself, and you're able to learn more about who you are as a person, because we're all different. I don't think there is any cookie cutter solution to what each person should be. I really do believe that it's different for different personalities, which is why being introspective is essential, because you get to know who you are, you get to know what your strengths are, you get to know what your weaknesses are. Knowing what your strengths are is so essential, because it helps you to develop, to develop those strengths, so they can overshadow your weaknesses, or they can make up for your shortfallings. Okay, and with regards to your weaknesses, it's essential that you do I used to be of the school of thought that believed that we needed to work on our weaknesses. But now I actually do believe that rather than focusing on the weakness, I think we need to focus on our strengths, and then grow those strengths so that they make up for the weaknesses, because everyone's got strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, where you have a weakness that's damaging to your career or damaging to your business or to your social life, then it is something that you definitely need to pay attention to and work on. But women, we wear so many hats. There is only so much we can do. We cannot possibly excel in every single role that we do. Another advantage of knowing your weaknesses is that it allows you to recognize when help comes. Very often you're out there, you're out and about, and you meet somebody who is able to support you or help you in an area where you're deficient in, but because you don't even know that you're deficient in that area, you would not accept the help, or you would miss out on a golden opportunity.
True.
So that's the first trait, being introspective. The second trait I would say is resilience. And it's not a trait that I would say I sought out and I went to look for and I developed consciously. It was kind of forced on me, and I think it's the same with everyone who's resilient, because nobody takes you to school and say, hey, let me teach you to be tough when you're in this situation. It doesn't happen. You have to you become resilient by having many challenges or overcoming many challenges as you go along the journey of life. It is essential because, again, as moms, we're pulled in every single direction. You're a daughter to your parents, and if you've got aging parents, then you've got that aspect of them as well. If you've got parents who are unwell, you've got that aspect. You're a mom to your children, and whether you have one child or 6 children, all of the love inside of you goes towards that child, and all of your attention and the child, you live for your child, really. And so that's a big chunk of you that's being pulled in a very forcefully in another direction. You may have a significant other in your life that needs your attention as well, and you have relationships that you're building, you're a friend. So there are just so many areas that we're being pulled into. But resilience, I don't think is the ability. It means being tough, or being a tough cookie, but it's knowing that tough cookies do crumble sometimes. And when we crumble, whether you're a tough cookie or a soft cookie, either way, the cookie does crumble from time to time. And resilience is being able to sweep up those crumbs, put yourself together, get up and move on. Resilience is certainly not being so tough that you don't cry. I think that as women, we do need to cry. Sometimes a good cry is needed to release the pent-up tension and just to feel better and just to acknowledge our humanity.
Yep.
We do have to recognize as well that failure, discouragement, they're all such a very normal part of life. It's not by happenstance that things go wrong. It is normal for there to be challenges in life. And I think that the sooner we recognize and embrace even the challenges that exist or the challenges that will come our way, then it will be easier for us to deal with it. Also, challenges are meant to be used as a tool for growth. It's not meant to trip you up. It's not meant to make you stumble and fall and then give up. You don't give up when you have a challenge. I read an interesting quote just the other day. It says that it was by Zig Ziglar, and it says when you meet an obstacle in your path, you don't change your decision to get there, to get to your goal. You simply change your direction, or you change the route in which you're taking. So obstacles are a very normal part of life, and overcoming or moving forward in spite of the obstacles is how resilience is birthed within us. And finally, the third trait is authenticity. And authenticity is relatively new to me, and I'll tell you why. When I first launched when I started to go on social media as a businesswoman, I hid behind my brand. I really didn't want people knowing that it was being run by this Nigerian woman, and especially because my audience is middle class, and I do not exactly fit into my audience. I'm not one of my own clients, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I was very reluctant, and I felt like I had to be a certain way, sound a certain way, look a certain way, be found in certain circles if my business was going to thrive. And at the start of this year, I started to think about my goals and my goals and my resolutions for 2014, and that word authenticity literally dropped into me, and I came to understand that it's all about being yourself. And as you go along your journey, you realize that you're a unique person. We're all unique individuals. When someone meets you, they really are meeting the first type of you there is and the last. And there really isn't anybody else like you. And so authenticity is being comfortable with who you are as a person, understanding that you are beautiful on the inside as well as on the outside. And people actually want to meet you. They want to know you.
True.
Now, a lot of times what happens, and I know for a fact, in my case, I didn't take on one personality from someone I admired. I took on several, multiple, multiple personalities from people that I admired. And before long, people really don't know who you are. And if people don't know who you are, they wouldn't remember you, and they wouldn't make an impact on their lives, because you really felt like you came across, you reminded them of Sally, and you reminded them of Susan, and you also reminded them of Alice, but you didn't remind them of you, because you hid your personality behind these other people. And so I learned about authenticity, and I really started to use it as a filter for pretty much everything in my life. And the first thing I did was put I created a personal profile for myself with my name, my first name and my surname, and I put it out there in social media. So I have the identity of the business is the business, but I've also got Tokes the person, and I connect with people as a person. I don't use flowery language or try to be who I'm not. My inauthentic self that I was creating was someone who was having teas, afternoon teas, perhaps with the royals. It was the impression I was trying to give. And while doing that, my husband and my sons had, jumped on the train to St. John's Wood to go to the Lord's cricket ground to go watch cricket. And that is this person that I had created as though this is what people want from me. This is what they want. This is what my clients would like to see. But the truth, they want to see me, and I also understand that not everyone's going to like you, not everyone's going to love you or like what you do, and that's absolutely fine, because the truth is there are people I don't like as well. So I think being authentic is excellent. It's probably the most important. It's a lesson I'm still learning, and I make sure that in my speech, in my communication with people, in my message, I am authentic. And I have to say that it has relieved me of a massive burden that I had been carrying and I didn't know, where I don't have to remember what act I'm playing. In the stage of life, I play myself. I play my own character. I don't have to remember lines. I don't have to look a certain way. And authenticity, I could go on about it, but I'll stop.
No. Go on. We have time.
We have time. There's another advantage in that case of authenticity is that it allows you to deliver your own creation in the most unique way. It's one thing to run a business, but I find there are lots of us, I shouldn't say lots of people, but there are lots of us that run businesses that don't exactly identify with who we are. By saying that we have a particular love or a hobby and perhaps have turned that into a business, but we don't run it the way with our personality, forgetting that the person you are is what people always want to connect with.
Yeah.
I read a quote as well somewhere that says, "Be yourself, because everybody else has been taken," and that's really true. So one thing that I've started to do recently is to have my mission statement, which I used to have a mission statement, or I used to have my values, if you like, one for myself and a different one for my business. But now I understand that I want to have the same values running through my life and also running through my business. People will pick up on a fraud. You know, when you're not being honest, when you're not being authentic, people will pick up on it because you're not really connecting with them. You can only truly connect with people when you're being yourself, and when, you know, and I find again that not only do you connect better with people, people tend to open up more to you. That's when you discover what people's needs are. I have a thing, I'm not very fond of sales. You know, if there is one area of business that I wouldn't even say I'm terrified, I just despise it, it's sales. And it stems from the fact that I hate being sold to. You know, I've
Mm,
had experiences where, and I'm sure we all have had experiences where you go out to, you go either to the shops and you get this overly enthusiastic salesperson all of a sudden admire you a bit too much. Like, oh my God, I love your hair. And your hair looked like crap, and you know your hair was really looking like crap that day. And you just kind of feel like, I'm being sold to here. But you see, when you're being yourself, you don't need to sell because people want you, they want to connect with you.
awesome, man. You've said so much. As in, I remember when I started blogging 6 years ago. For a long time, I remained anonymous because I
Okay.
didn't want, you know, show myself. But it
Yeah.
was when I, came out of my shell or whatever that I started connecting more with people.
Wow.
That's when
That's
people knew me, like,
yeah.
so that definitely made sense to me.
That's
Um, so sorry, one thing, if you can't see the chat box, you can go to the Facebook page for the event and put your comments or questions there. A few people have done. So I've seen Tash. She's saying I'm logged on, listening live now. It's fantastic. Thanks for putting this together, Lute. Talks is amazing. So,
oh, thank you.
and then Olivia says great advice from Talks. So you can just, if you have any questions or comments, please use the Facebook page for the event, and yeah, I'll pick it up from there if you don't mind. So yeah, you touched on something. You touched on identity. So
Mhm.
where would you say your identity stems from? Is it from being a mom or from being a businesswoman, or from where does your identity stem from? Because I think sometimes we tie our identity to something that is
Mm,
not true or that can be
that's
achieved.
true.
So can you talk more on identity and where you're
Okay. I think that my identity or my and along with my personality very sadly has changed over the years. I'm every with I think 10 years ago, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And my identity has morphed, if you like, because of experiences that I've had. Once upon a time, I remember as far back in secondary school, that I had a good friend who wore her wristwatch on her right arm, on her right wrist.
Hmm.
And I switched my watch to my right wrist as well because I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I think
had a
that's cool.
cousin who I had a cousin who um I spent the night at hers once when I was a teenager and discovered she didn't use pillows. And I'd
Hmm.
never met anybody who didn't use a pillow in my life. So I said, why don't you use a pillow? She goes, I just can't. I just don't. I prefer to sleep. And of course, I punished myself by starting to sleep without a pillow. and and I found that now I look back and I realize I don't know if it's a case of I was searching for my identity. I think that was actually just a really sad people pleasing
Hmm.
trait that I had at the time, where I felt like I had to be appealing to everyone I came across. So if you wore your wristwatch on your right, I'm going to wear mine on my right as well so I could fit in. And if you slept without a pillow, I would break my neck doing the same as well and have sleepless nights doing the same. But as I've gotten older and thankfully a bit wiser, I'm learning to accept who I am as a person. My identity once upon a time was definitely tuned to my business. It was definitely linked to my business. And when that happened, when the recession came and I lost the store and everything, it really affected me because I had tied myself so much to that business. I felt the business was me and I was the business. Therefore, when the business failed, I felt I had failed. In more recent times, I'm learning to be me. This whole journey of authenticity has really been an amazing one. And I'm learning to be me. I'm learning to be who I really am. I write a blog. I write a couple of blogs, and one of them is called Pawpaw and Mango. And on Pawpaw and Mango, I have hidden my identity completely because I want to keep some kind of mystery to the blog itself. But who knows, maybe there is a part of me that feels that if people see my face, well, not if they see my face, but if they would keep coming back wondering who this person is. But I really do want people to find out about me, not by looking at my face, but to find out about me by what goes on inside of me. So I'm actually very, very open, very authentic on that blog. So possibly because I feel, well, many of the people who read the blog would never meet me or never know who I am. So that is definitely one area that my identity shows, my true identity. But now I would say that it's been defined over the years, definitely by circumstances. I am a mom, and I relate very well to being a mom, and I identify very much as a mom. But at the same time, I am being so authentic that when my boys come into the room when I'm busy or I just need to lie down and I need some peace and quiet, I actually tell them to go out of my room and shut the door so I can have some peace and quiet. Whereas once upon a time, I thought being a mom meant that you had to be run ragged by your child, and you literally were not allowed to take breaks. Because I think about my mom. My mom is a very loving mom. She's always been extremely patient and has always been there for us. But my lifestyle is very different to my mom's lifestyle. In many ways, I'm sure. And even if it wasn't, I'm a different person to her. And I'm now learning to understand that just because I'm a mom does not mean that I have to not have an identity as Tokes. So I'm working on that.
Yeah. Wow. That's actually part of, the message I want to bring across as part of Super Working Mom. Yes, you are a mom and it's fantastic, but you're still you and you can be more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're on the path as well. So am I. Awesome. Okay. You've said so much and I've picked a lot from what you've said. So what is one practical action step that our viewers and those that will be watching the replay who are either just starting out in business or are already in business, what is one action step that they can start doing immediately after this webinar that would bring a difference to their business?
I think that one action step, it would be get a journal if you don't have one.
Wow.
I know that I'm a writer, but I really do think that we should all have our thoughts on paper. You discover so much about yourself when you write about your emotions and you put your emotions on paper. It's obviously not for anybody to see. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, written in a poetic fashion either. It just has to be honest about how you feel. If you're feeling like crap, yes, I am having a really nasty day today, and I actually do feel like chopping my boss to tiny little bits and blending them in the blender. It's absolutely fine, to be honest. I would say get a journal or a piece of paper and write a list of the values that you live by or you want to live by, and start putting it into practice in every area of your life. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have two sets, one for business or career and one for your personal life. You just want to be identified by these values. You want people, I remember as a child, my mom always used to say to us, if we were naughty, she would say, one of the things my mom hated with a passion, which I guess everyone does, is telling lies. And she would say, I want to be able to go to school and have a stranger, or go somewhere and have a stranger say, my child did this. your child did this, and I want to be able to say, no, they didn't, without checking with you first, because I trust you. And that's what value is that it carries you through, regardless of, what every straight strand of your life, it carries you through. So write down your list of values after you've bought that journal, and make the journal pretty, not a boring notebook that has no pictures on. Make it really pretty, make it creative, yeah, that's it.
You've just immediately you said study journal. I was like, wow, because I remember when I was younger, because I'm also a writer, I love writing. But when I was younger, I used to keep a journal, and then you know how it is when you grow up and life happens, you forget about journaling.
That's right.
As part of starting Super Mom retreat, I realized that journaling is something that would help me, either to brain to dump your brain when you're
That's
overwhelmed,
right, yeah.
or just write out all your emotions. And I've started doing it again this year, and it's been
Wow.
fantastic. Even my prayers, I write out my prayers sometimes.
That's
So that
right,
get
yeah.
answered, I can go back and go, oh wow. I remember
Exactly.
when I was like, oh God, help me.
It's true. You know what? You're absolutely right. It does. It does. It does help you distress in an amazing way. And I've even had moments where I've had, those days when you wake up. As a matter of fact, your bad day starts the night before because you go to bed with a lot of issues on your mind, and you wake up and it's kind of doubled overnight. And then you wake up and you're thinking, you don't say it out loud and you don't want to admit it to anybody, but you kind of just know it's going to be one of those days,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I've had days where I've just felt so overwhelmed, overwhelmed with business, overwhelmed with the children, overwhelmed with the house, and even down to, maybe the house is untidy. I've successfully dropped the children off at school. Thank God I survived that journey. And I'm back home and the house is an absolute mess. And I also have perhaps an appointment at 9 o'clock and I need to rush out and I don't want to leave the house in a mess, or I've got things to do and it's just all such a jumbled mess. The picture that comes to mind is, the ball of wool that you have cats playing with, or that ball of rubber band where you can't even tell where one begins and the other one ends. That's how my thoughts are sometimes. And I've gone and just grabbed my pen, my journal. I started doing this particular exercise a few years ago and it works for me every time, and I write at the top of a clean new page what's bothering me or what's on my mind, and I start to list them out, from staff payment to office rent to the house is untidy to whatever financial challenges I may be having to a badly behaved child, or mom's not feeling well, whatever it is, or even down to I had a disagreement with somebody, anything, every single thing, I write it down. And then I go back to the list, to the top of the list, and I prayerfully look at each one and begin to address every single point. Okay, so the staff salary is due. When is the due date, and when is it? And I find that, I was worrying about staff salary that's due perhaps a week from now. Okay, well, leave in the present. Within the next week, there's nothing you can do about that right now, but you can look at ways in which perhaps you can cut back or, do a promotion to increase sales or what have you. So I've got that down. And then the next one might be, there was a period, especially when we came back from the United States, where we had quite a lot of financial challenges. And I write down British gas bill can't be paid. And what solution? Let them know. Rather than sitting down brooding and worrying over it, call them and say, you know what, I do know my bill is due, but I can't pay my bill because I don't have the money, not because I don't want to. And let's see what happens 2 weeks from now. And that takes the burden off you. And I found that, there's solutions that I have found, not only financial, but just solutions for the house is untidy. How about you take 15 minutes and you quickly clean the house? 15 minutes, don't touch your phone, don't open the door for anyone, don't do anything else, but the next 15 minutes is for the, and then I list all of the work that I have lined up for the rest of the day. And with regards to that, it might be whatever it is, phone calls, replying emails, customer inquiries, whatever it is, I list them down, and then I divide them into sections if it's really that many. So I might say between 12 and 1, I'll send all these emails. And I love a challenge. So for me, it's like a race. It's not a case of, oh, I've got to send this email. It's a case of, wow, I've got to beat the clock and send all of these emails by 1 o'clock. Let's see if
It's
I
all
can.
about your mindset, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly, it is indeed. It is about the mindset. So
Wow.
yeah, that's the one. The journaling, I cannot emphasize that enough. Another thing I started doing at the start of this year, although I haven't been very consistent with it, is somebody gave me a really pretty notebook, a very small notebook, and I started writing 3 things every night before I go to bed that I'm thankful for. And what it
Yeah.
does is that it lets you, it keeps you living in a state of gratitude. And
True.
gratitude is a very, very useful tool for us as women
Yeah.
because it's not about being right or wrong, as in gratitude is a good thing or not a good thing. It's not that. It's being opening your eyes to the good that surrounds you because we live in such a beautiful world. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, the world is covered completely, or the emphasis is on the evil. But there's a lot of beauty in the world. So, what you do with the gratitude journal is you just write out either 3 beautiful things you came across. It could be that you got a cuddle from your child. You know, there are times that you might have such a bad day that you think there really isn't anything to be thankful for. Well, thank God that you're alive to write. You know, you're not in hospital, bedridden. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You're able to write. Or even there's been days I've simply said, thank you that today has ended. It was such a bad day that I'm glad it's over. And tomorrow is a new day. I get to start afresh tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow. This has been really inspiring. Let me just go to the Facebook comments. I see some comments in there. Um, Stephen Adewale says, to that last question, I think the one about action, it says, I would say take action. Talk is cheap and gets us nowhere.
Mm.
Yep, to the journaling, doing it as well. It's amazing therapy as well. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's nice.
Batch says, authenticity, word. Someone else has said something. Faye says, lots of food for thought. Feeling so inspired by talks. Wow. I can see that a lot of people are feeling really inspired. Okay,
That's
before I
lovely
go
to
on
hear.
to the next question, I'd mentioned that I have a surprise for someone on the call. So if you live in the UK and you want to come for the live event, put in and yeah, you want to come for the live event, put it in in the Facebook page or the Facebook on the page for the event and say I would like to win a free ticket. And then depending on how many people replied, I'll randomly choose one person. So put that down and obviously it's only open to those in the UK because I can't pay for someone from Nigeria or wherever to come. I'm not yet at that stage. I'll get there soon.
Maybe next year.
Amen. Amen to that. So yeah, just put in that's my surprise. First, one person is going to win a free ticket to the live event. So moving on quickly because we have a few more questions. Yes. So as I mentioned before, if you joined late, Talks is our keynote speaker at the live event, and she's going to be sharing more of her story when things went bad, how she recovered from it, and basically inspiring us with telling us if things are going wrong, you can still make it. So, Talks, can you just give us a sneak peek to what we can expect from you at live event?
Ah, I would say, well, I'll be sharing my business story, which is quite an interesting one, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then I'm going to also share more traits. I shared 3 a little while earlier, but I'll be sharing a few more at the live event. And I would just warn you ahead of time that these are not necessarily pretty traits, and they're not necessarily traits that I read in a book or I got up and decided I wanted to learn them. It just so forced itself on me. I was the very unwilling party, and I had to learn them. And I think that's what life is about. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I am also looking forward to that. I mean, last week I was at an event Talks organized a brunch, and she shared part of her story, and I was so inspired. So I can't wait to hear the rest because I know you're giving it to us in phases. So I can't wait to get the rest of the story, and I'm sure those that are coming for the live event are looking forward to it as well. So, my next question is, which mom or woman inspires you and why?
It's got to be my mom. You know, my mom definitely has got to be my biggest inspiration of all the women that exist that God ever created. She's an amazing woman. She's always been, you know, I would call my mom home in the sense where you just knew you were home safely in her arms whenever she cuddled you, whenever you were near her. You know, your fears would dissipate. And even now as an adult, you know, there's been times that I remember when one of my sons, my first son, obviously being a first time mom, there's just so much nobody ever tells you, and you learn yourself, and then you believe you're the only person going through this. And my first son took a while to grow to cut his first teeth.
Wow.
His first tooth, and I would have visions of this 10-year-old boy toothless on the news, you know, where they said, yeah, and for the first time in England, there's a little boy who just never grew any tooth. Doctors are puzzled. And I just knew it would be me. And they would have me and my husband and the whole family sitting down watching the news or looking at the cameras. And the whole of England's just handing on us, and we're, you know, the topic of discussion. So my mind really does, my imagination is quite active. And my mom would say to me with such confidence, folks, every child grows a teeth. Every child will cut their first tooth and they all grow teeth. But it was taking so long that even when we took him to health visitors, they were like, you have no teeth? How old are you? And for me, that was that was just the stamp, the final nail in the coffin that I needed was, yeah, even the doctors think this is not normal. But she always would pacify me and comfort me. And she never, ever expressed fright at any of the challenges that I went through. And even as an adult, you know, recent years, some of the challenges I've shared with her, she's never actually balked and expressed or, you know, balked in panic or said, oh my goodness, Tokes, how are we going to deal with this? My mom never panics. And it's weird because she does panic, but where we're concerned or where we're going through challenges, she never panics. She always has this really laid back attitude of it's going to be fine. And you just know that it will be because mom said so. My mom was also, when she was younger, ran a number of businesses and also worked full time.
Wow.
And she's always been, you know, just this, you know, she was an entrepreneur the first I knew, and she's always been, but she still managed to run the home on oiled wheels. You know, when she came and stayed with us for a while when the boys were young, she is the one who put them into a bedtime routine, not me. You know, she is the one who made sure that at 1:30 every afternoon was when they had their lunch, and at 6:30 at night they had their dinner, and she's like clockwork. And she was able to do all of that while we were young, and she was working, and she did have a domestic help as well, but she did really well. And I think that if I am half as good a mom as my mom was, then I've definitely nailed it in the motherhood channels. I'm there.
Wow, your mom reminds me of my mom.
Oh.
Yeah. She's also very calm, also, but strict, calm, but strict. Yeah, little meek, you know, and
Oh, wow.
they are the original super working moms.
Oh, yeah, of course. What a blessing.
Oh, great. Okay, so can you tell us one fun thing about you? You sound fun, but yeah, I want to know something fun about you.
Okay. I say this at the risk of you having an empty auditorium when your live event happens, because I'm about to reveal something really weird about myself.
Ouch.
I hold conversations with myself a lot, and sometimes it actually erupts into a full-blown argument. Yeah, that's kind of yeah. My husband thinks it's funny, and he goes, "Talks, you're talking to yourself again." They always use the word "again" where I'm concerned, and yeah, but I do like to talk, and people around me and my friends are used to it in a sense. And I explain to people who don't understand that I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking myself through a task. So I actually have arguments. Should I use the red one or the blue one? Which one should I use? And I'm looking up in the air as though I'm speaking to people. But that's a very weird but funny thing about me.
Oh, wow. I speak to myself too, but I don't think it's as bad.
Okay, you don't need to make me feel any worse than I feel already. Just you're normal.
So let me see what's happening in on Facebook. Um, if people are leaving comments. Ah, um, Catherine says. Oh, I thought I saw it just now. Where's it? Where's it gone? One second. Um, I can't find it again.
You gone? It's gone
Maybe
walk.
I saw it just now. Something about I need to go find my journal.
Oh, really?
Um, okay, in the wrong place. Oh, Diane says I want to win a ticket. I will bless someone with it if I win. Oh,
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
okay. Let's see what others are saying. Elizabeth says, "So I'm so inspired. Thanks for sharing. Journal, my number one on my number one to-do list."
Oh, thank you. That's nice to hear.
Michelle says, "Where can we find your website?" Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get all her details very soon. Tash says, "Hi folks, thank you so much for doing this webinar. I feel so proud right now of what you're doing and being a great role model. I have a lot of questions, but will mention my main one. Okay. Oh wow. I am a mother of two beautiful boys, 9 and 2. I have recently started a cleaning business with a business partner. I had many excuses to give not to get started in this business, but I didn't give into it because I've learned solutions to all my challenges. I went for it. However, my main challenge is childcare. I'm sure many moms will relate to this. So how did you manage to juggle progressing a successful business alongside childcare, especially as childcare is expensive in the UK? I know you touched a bit on a lady who took their children with them to meetings, etc. My business doesn't allow me to have my children with me. Thanks, Tash. So did you get that question? Quite a
I
long.
got I missed a little bit of it. Does Tash say what her business is?
Yes. Cleaning. I recently started a cleaning
All right, okay.
with a business partner.
A cleaning business. And I mean is it flexible? Like does it have to be certain hours? Is she able to work? Are you able to work? I should be asking you because you're watching. Are you able to work when the children are at school, for example, and perhaps even negotiate with your clients about your times? That could be one option. And I don't know if you're a single mom or if you've got an adult in the house when they're asleep at night, and if it's residential or is it residential or commercial. So those are all factors that would help to know. I do think that it is still possible. Childcare is expensive, but how about building a network of people around you, friends and family? And I say this because you may already have people around you that could help you with childcare, but very often we feel reluctant to ask, and we feel like we're burdening people with with our own problems. How about you swap? Hey, I'll clean your house if it's residential, or I'll do something for you in exchange for you watching my children. I think that we need to not look at money as the only solution to our problems. And by money, I mean, obviously, if you had more than enough money, you'd have a live-in nanny and you'd have this, that, and the other. There are other currencies that we all have as women, which we can use. And so I would probably suggest, dig deep and see if you can exchange something for childcare during those hours, or if you can renegotiate your hours, your cleaning hours, so that it's more suited to either when the children are asleep. Again, I don't know if it's domestic or commercial that you're doing, but yeah, I hope that helps. But I will definitely give it a bit more thought, and would be happy to connect with you after the webinar and chat with you some more.
Yeah, so Tash says my 2-year-old doesn't go to school yet, and my husband finishes work after 18 hours. I'm not sure if that's 6 o'clock or 18 hours. So maybe after 6. I'm not sure. It's
Okay.
hours, so yeah. Yeah.
Is it residential or commercial cleaning that you're doing?
Okay. I'll wait for her to answer that. A lot of
Yeah.
people, I can see a lot of people saying they're going to start their journal. And funny enough, it's earlier this year, uh, I felt God telling me to come up with like a super working mom journal. So
Ah, sounds
I better
interesting.
get going and come up with that journal. So
So what would be a super working mom journal? What would that have?
well, it's
What would
basically
you be
it will
entering?
look pretty and all, like you've already said. So that's a tip. It's look pretty, and then it will now have like maybe inspirational words on the side, but
Oh, that's
more like a
nice.
notebook for people to still write out their stuff, and then
That's
have quotes on the side, inspirational words, thankful, gratitude words, and stuff like that.
Wow, you are so full of ideas. That sounds really, really good. That sounds good because, I think that, again, because of the world that we live in, because of the power of the media, one of the tools that I learned was to filter what goes into my mind, what goes into my head, what goes into my mind, because what the media have done successfully is recreate this false world. They've recreated a manufactured truth, if you like, that we live in this bubble that is filled with evil.
Mm,
If you and I tell anybody right now, just go onto BBC's news website or Sky News or CNN, and I guarantee you that the first 3 to 5 headlines are negative. And so
mm,
we're surrounded by so much negativity. And what that does is, where they say that, the sky is the limit. What happens is you've got dark clouds hanging over you as opposed to the bright blue sky. So your
mm.
expectations are a lot less, and therefore you achieve very little in life. So it's really important, I like the idea of having inspirational words in there because we need to bathe ourselves with anything that's beautiful and anything that's positive.
Yes. So I better get cracking.
Yeah.
So Tash says, "Oh yes, please connect with me, please." And then she says, "Yeah, domestic currently will progress into commercial, hopefully
Okay.
in a couple of months." Yeah,
All right, okay. So in a couple of months, you'll progress into commercial. Is
that's what
that
she,
what you say?
yeah,
Well,
with a
that's
smiley.
that's brilliant. So your problem is almost solved there, isn't it? If the domestic is being, if it's a challenge with regards to the cleaning, and I'll be honest with you, depending on the sort of homes that you clean, you still can, you could tell your clients that, what, this is a bit different. I'm a working mom. Be proud to say that you're a mom who runs a business, and occasionally or sometimes I will have my son with me. He will be well behaved, and you just kind of, rough it out. But I do think I remember J.K. Rowling when she was writing the Harry Potter novels. Okay, yes, she wasn't the big celebrity or successful woman that she is now. She had a daughter with her wherever she went. And now, thankfully, there's so many campaigns that are out there promoting natural motherhood. I saw a
Mm,
clip on Facebook today where someone had done a collage of pictures of celebrities breastfeeding their babies, where once upon a time, women who were successful were supposed to pretend they didn't have children. But now, we do have children. We are moms and we are proud to be moms. I was once
mm,
at a school. I mentor with a charity over the year, and I was at a school where I was on a panel, and this woman, I can't remember her name now. She's a BBC presenter, and she came in. She was on the same panel as me, and she came in late. So she came in right in the middle of it. We had already started, and she
mm,
comes in with her daughter, in fact, her 3-year-old daughter, I think her daughter was, and she just sat down and started breastfeeding her child right there on the panel, and she got a standing ovation for that
wow.
because people shy away from that. But I would say be comfortable. It is the good thing is it's your business, and don't be afraid that people are going to not hire you because you have a child with you. I think
Mm,
it's all about how you package the whole
true.
thing and how you present yourself and say it with boldness and courage. I have a child and my child comes with me when I go cleaning, but I guarantee you that you wouldn't find a better cleaner than me and my child.
Wow, I like it. Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say to Tash. When you're running your own business, even though they say customer is king, you can still determine the terms and let people.
Absolutely.
it's me and my child, or I have to walk around my children, and people will begin to respect you for that. I mean, there's been a couple of days where I'm running a webinar, and I've already warned my daughter, do not come up, and then she just flies into the room, and that's it. People have to realize I'm a mom. So if my
Yeah,
daughter comes in the middle of my webinars, oh, so be it. I mean, that's life. So, but before
that's
it's like, no, don't come and mess up my webinar. But now I've chilled out.
no, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. It's 10 o'clock on the
Oh
dot.
my
Let me
gosh, you did. That
see.
was quick.
Man, I've been having so much fun, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, I'm inspired." Ladies,
Oh, my.
if you're inspired, I want to see you at the live event so that you can be more inspired. I'm challenged to take action. It's all about taking action. It's not just about, being excited in you, but more about taking action for what you're going to learn. The speakers that are coming are experts in their field. They know what they're talking about. And one thing I'm striving to do with Super Working Mom is to make things practical. So it's not just about fluff and not just about talking and not just about getting you excited. It's more about getting you to take action and to see results. I'm all about results. And that's what Super Working Mom Life is all about as well. So I hope to see everyone there. There are still tickets available. You can get them at www.superworkingmomlife.com. Okay, let me see if there are a few more questions. And gosh, Falake says, "I'm so inspired by Tooks. You're such a blessing." Oh wow. Okay. Um, Yemi says, "Thanks, Tooks and Alote, dusting up my journal." Ha ha ha. Let me be sure I've not missed. Oh wow, there's more. It's like everyone's just coming out. Okay, Tracy says, very inspiring, amazing webinar. Thanks, Talks and Allotted. Anxiously waiting for the Super Working Mom journal.
Yeah, lovely.
I put it out there. Tash says, thanks, Talks. I'll give your advice a go. And then she has a love and kisses at the end.
Oh, love and kisses to you too, Tash.
And Fumi says, thank you for this talks. You're such an inspiration. Lots of tools for me
Thank
on this webinar.
you.
Wow.
Thank
Emilia
you.
says, I agree. I made a decision to stop watching mainstream news 3 months ago because it wasn't doing anything for my growth.
Good point. Very, very wise.
Very wise. And Michelle says in response, I stopped watching TV 3 years ago. So true. Wow.
Wow. I'm not there yet.
um, okay. So if you, I said what? Yeah. Okay. I can see a few people saying they want to win. So 3 people want to win their ticket. Oh, they want to win the ticket. So before we go, I know a lot of people would like to connect with you. If so, how can they reach you before we get into who wins the ticket?
I am on the main social media site. So my Facebook personal site is or my personal page, which I'm very happy to connect with you on, is facebook.com/Miss Tokes, or if you just do a search for my name, Tokes Arotere. Also on Twitter under Tokes Arotere as well. I'm also on Pinterest and Instagram, but Instagram is on the pumpkin patch, so that's a bit different, but yeah.
Okay, so what I would do is I would get those details from you and add them to the webinar, so to the page of the webinar, so that people can click on the links, link and connect with you from there. Okay. So anyone else want to win the ticket before I grab? We have 3 names. So it's Elizabeth, Diane, and Faye. I'm going to use random.org to choose who's get this. Because if it's left to me, I'm going to be biased. Let's see, random.org. Let me give you 1 minute. No, not 1 minute. 2 seconds to type in if you want to win a ticket. And let me just check if there's any more comments. I want to win. Okay. I'm going to random.org and I'm going to put in the number. I should probably share my screen, shouldn't I? So that it's transparent to all. So I'm going to share my screen. Screen share. Okay. So first, I'm going to show you where I have typed out the name. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I put Elizabeth, Diane, and Faye. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. I need to reshare. So we can see that Elizabeth is number 1, Diane is 2, and Faye is number 3. Okay. So we're going to go to random.org now. Oh, is there anyone? Oh, Tash. Now everyone wants to win a ticket. Okay, I'll add it to the list. Not a problem. So Tash and Yemi. So Tash is number 4 and Yemi is number 5. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go to random.org. Can you see random.org?
Yep.
Okay. So we have 5 people, and I'm going to generate. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Ta-da! I should have like some music, drum roll. Generate. Number 3. Right.
Oh, congratulations.
Sophie won the ticket. Well done. Congrats to you, Faye. I'll be in touch to get you your ticket. And yeah, so let me go back to how to screen share. Screen share. Right. So Faye, congrats on winning the free ticket to Super Farm Life. And as you saw, that was transparent.
No one's been partial there.
And like I said, I cannot overemphasize that coming to Super Mom is going to change your life. Those that came last year, apart from having fun, they made a few people that I know that have come back to give me feedback made a decision on that day to better their lives. And now, before this year's event, they are proud to say that because of them coming to Super Mom Live last year, their lives are better, their businesses are growing.
That's good.
And that's my aim. Like I said before, I'm not about just doling out talks. I'm more about people getting results, okay? And the speakers we're having, Talks is going to be sharing her story. Emilia, we had her earlier on the webinar, on her webinar. She'll be sharing how to use Facebook to grow your business. Umi will be sharing with us how to stay healthy and how to be healthy even with a busy lifestyle. And Diane is going to be sharing on how to juggle your career and a business. So and I will be sharing on self-care tips. A lot of moms do not take care of themselves, and they're cranky, angry, and all of that. So you need to know that. So I want to share why it is important and how you can actually go about taking care of yourself. So I would love to see all of you there. The website, again, to get your tickets, your early bird tickets, they are running out fast. The website to go to is www.superworkingmomlive.com. So thank you so much, Talks, for sharing part of your story with us today and those 3 traits. I must confess, when you said you're going to share 3 traits, I thought it was the usual, you must be hardworking, and all that. But you came out with something totally different, and I have learned a lot.
Oh, thank you.
And apart from the action, the action step you said, people should go and start journaling. So I've already started, and I will keep on doing it. So I would encourage you, if you do not journal, start and see what difference it will make in your life, even just your emotions alone, and how you feel by wearing your thoughts out. And one thing I keep saying is, sorry, I feel like I'm going off, talking now, but I'm quite passionate about this, is your brain was meant to solve problems, not to store problems. So if you find yourself overwhelmed, it means you're keeping so much in your brain. You need to put it up. put it on paper so that way you can start creating and start finding solutions. So we're going to end now. Thank you so much for joining. And folks, I look forward to seeing you on September 13th.
Same here. Thank you for having me, and thank you so much all for the questions, the comments. Really, really feel chuffed by it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me just see if anyone has said anything else. Okay. Okay. Oh, Faye says, yay! Congrats. Everyone's saying congrats to Faye. So, in August, we're going to have the last webinar series, and that's going to be with Diane. And yeah, I'll send out the invites at some point. But look out for that, and it's going to be inspiring as well. Trust me, Diane is an amazing woman. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll let you go off to bed now. And for those who couldn't join us live, you get to watch the replay. Get your tickets before they run out. Grab your copy now, like they say. Okay, thank you so much, folks. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good evening, all.
Bye.